Well, wow, I didn't think we'd have this many people that would be interested in what's going on. I'm sorry? Is, is there a microphone somewhere? No. Oh, no mic?
No, just gotta speak loud.
I'm really quiet. Richard Loudin, like loud and clear. Yes, that's me. Anyway, when I was asked, I was kind of surprised when I was asked to come and share my thoughts with everybody. I'm one of those out of the box people, I would say. I was born and raised in Vegas. I grew up in an uncontrolled growth town. I bring a unique perspective to understanding what that means. And one of the reasons, my wife, let me go back just a little bit. My wife, who I lost a couple of years ago, was out picking up shell casings from a drive-by shooting 3 doors down from my house, and it used to be the Big Bucks customary behind St. Anne's. And I said, I'm done. I don't want to play anymore. And I came to this town knowing full well what was here. And what we have here is a very unique situation. And it'd be very hard to duplicate what we have here. It's an amazing place to live. I feel very blessed to be here. This is, there's so many people who don't realize how lucky they are to live in this community. And there's so many questions that they came up with, and I have several different answers. But the bulk of this is that I truly love being in this town. I care about this town. And that is my biggest, what would you call it? Ability to deal with people, the ability to listen, the ability to be available to people. I'm a realtor. I'm available. I mean, my cell phones, I got signs all over the place, I hope, unless somebody took them down. So, I grew up in a whole different environment than most people did. When I grew up in Vegas, and let me back up just a little bit. You know what uncontrolled growth does? The developers doesn't pay for the infrastructure, you do. So when you have massive growth, you have infrastructure that has to be paid by somebody. And guess who pays for it? You. Yeah, the taxpayer, absolutely. So, one of the things that really grabbed my attention about here was, number one, it had a controlled growth ordinance already in place. We have never used the 120 building permits that we have available. Okay, there's always growth here. And it still is driven by market. If it doesn't make sense to build, they aren't going to build. And there's so many things I'd like to talk to you about how I see things, but I truly believe I can make a difference. I don't want to spend a lot of time. I'm going to need to answer the questions. But, growing up in Vegas, and Boulder City was always something special way off in the distance. It was like a day trip. And I remember my parents bringing us up to the park to hunt Easter eggs. That was our tradition for years. And when I came here finally, and I thought, how did that park get so little? It's amazing. But I grew up in an environment that was kind of like being on Happy Days. I tell people all the time, I was Richie and I had 2 Fonzies around me at all times. So I never got beat up. And we grew up in a town that had only one set of criminals. And it was very unique. You didn't have to lock your doors. It was a very controlled existence in a sense, but yet so free. It was amazing to grow up in. I don't think I'd ever be able to duplicate that again. The questions, do you think the master plan should be updated? Well, the master plan is supposed to be a living document. It is supposed to be changed all of the time. It is supposed to be responsive to what the community needs, where we want to go, what the direction is. But what drew me here? It was this small town. Was it a little more expensive to get in? Yeah. And then what? What is that? What's so bad about that? Because we have a situation where this is a great community. Try and put this somewhere else in the country and see how it works out. So, yeah, we're 20 minutes away from anything and everything that you could possibly want. Should it be updated? It should be updated constantly. It should always be reevaluated and see where we're going. A lot of these things, I'm going to look at this thing from a different perspective. I truly am an independent voice here. I am not a politician, nor do I have any political aspirations. This is strictly a one-time shot. I thought that I wanted to, and I could be able to give back to this community. So I am not planning on going on to any place else. This is it. This is done. You turn me down. It's okay. I'm fine now. I'll go home and just keep on going. Do you think the growth ordinance as it currently stands is right for the community as a whole? Overall, this is a great place to live, and part of that is because of the controlled growth. But it isn't controlled. There's as much growth as somebody wants to do. We got 120 building permits every year, and why aren't they buying into stuff that we've already got? There's a lot of parcels of land are available. Like one of my compatriots here talked about is, those lots around the golf course, which we could have sold a long time ago for a whole gob of money. But those lots around the golf course, it's a beautiful environment. It's a great environment. Why aren't they bidding on them? Maybe we aren't quite flexible enough. Maybe we aren't really encouraging that growth. Maybe we need to be a little more user-friendly. Maybe, just thinking out loud. But overall, they talk about this pledge. Just so you know, I'm going to sign it. I checked with my attorney. It's okay. It's how he said I was. So anyway, let me think. How do you plan to hear the concerns of the community? Do you agree with complete transparency? Yes, I do. Absolutely. But a lot of times people are looking to one person, and there are committees in this city that are addressing all of these various challenges. But you know what? Nobody goes. Nobody goes to these committees. Nobody goes to these meetings and stuff. And if you don't go, they can't give input. You don't get input. And there's a lot of ways to get that voice in the government, as you would call it. Do you think the historic buildings of Boulder City should be protected? How do you plan to enforce your ideas? I think Boulder City protects itself pretty darn good, actually. There is a great enthusiasm to help people to maintain historic buildings. And I think with a little bit of flexibility, if there's a little bit of flexibility in the building department, there would be a lot of people who would like to come here and maybe really fix historic buildings and to make them a viable business. But we, as a community, need to be a little bit more business friendly to make this happen. Let's see, what do we got? Okay. What concerns do you have with the incoming of I-11? We quit calling it the bypass because that was negative. Oh my gosh, I'm almost out of time already. Time goes by so fast and you're having fun. I-11 is an opportunity. I'm going to tell you right now. I don't know that the answer to I'm told that they're going to reduce the traffic flow by 30%, but we're going to talking about reducing the highway by 50%. I don't understand that. I'm a little confused about that. Maybe we need to take a look at that plan. But I-11 can be a real boom for us because businesses can now have access because you got 2 or 3 days a week that people don't want to turn left out of these driveways, for crying out loud. So why don't we wait to see how this shakes out a little bit before we start making a knee-jerk reaction as far as what we're going to do. How do you want to see Boulder City in the next 5-10 years? I think from a business point of view, if we encourage businesses to come in here, that's going to create the revenue. But we have to be a business-friendly community. And too many times I have known from personal experience that isn't always the case. The last one is, who are your primary fund contributors? I don't have 5 contributors. So, I don't know who they are. Anyway, I just, if you have a love for community, you want to see it work. You want to see something happen, but you want to see it happen in a logical point of view. And because of my background, because I grew up in the crazy city of Las Vegas, I have seen things and I know what happens. And I have been around for a few years. And it's just a very interesting time. We are going to, if anybody wants to talk to me, we're gonna have a little get together out on the highway at Chili Jilly's on Monday, and you're more than welcome to come in and beat me up. And but we're going to be there from 5 to 7:30, I think. And I thought, you know, I might as well just open it up. And somebody else just did, and I said, oh, what the heck. So, you know, it's, oh, I'm done. Okay, listen. You have a choice, and I am so excited to see people here involved in the system, in community, and in the administration of this town. Thank you.